Hello and welcome to my ongoing series, Roblox Myths Explained. In this series, I talk about various Roblox myths and everything you need to know about them. In today's episode, we'll be talking about Garçonnette. So, let's get into it. Garçonnette is a Roblox myth best known for the games they make and for being associated with the group Collaboration. Although their account has existed for a while, Garçonnette's myth gained no attention until mid-2023. The fact that this happened is pretty impressive and surprising. We can trace Garçonnette's story back to September 11th, 2017, which marks the date they created their Roblox account. Not much happened initially, but that would end up changing pretty soon. It is believed that his myth started in 2018, as there are records that corroborate this claim. During the early days of his myth, Garçonnette's account accumulated around 4,000 place visits. This shows that his myth was popular throughout its initial run. However, everything would halt as Garçonnette went on a hiatus sometime in 2019. As a result of the hiatus, his myth became relatively unknown within the Roblox myth community. Fast forward to the summer of 2023 and Garçonnette would return to Roblox. The first thing he did was create his signature group, Phantasmagoria, in the middle of June. It soon became the official group for his myth. Additionally, Garçonnette released his signature game, The Sun Cafe, during this time. In the summer of 2023, Garçonnette joined the Roblox myth group Collaboration. He'd also released his second and most recent game, Dystopia, sometime after. Nowadays, Garçonnette is a very active Roblox myth, logging onto their account daily. As always, this is likely to change in the future, but you never know. There's not much to this section, but I still feel like talking about it. According to eyewitness accounts, Garçonnette interacts with myth-hunters fairly and respectfully. This, combined with his calm and reserved nature, makes him a pretty cool person to talk to. In regards to his myth, Garçonnette is often seen talking to James, an NPC that can be found in his games. As I said, there's not much to this section, but I still felt like talking about it. Garçonnette currently has two public games. They are The Sun Cafe and Dystopia. Of the two, The Sun Cafe is the most popular, having nearly 9,000 place visits as of November 2023. Expect this to change in the future. As for Dystopia, it is Garçonnette's second most popular game, with nearly 4,000 place visits as of December 2023. Again, expect this to change in the future. Dystopia was made on April 13th, 2023, making it a reasonably new myth game. Unlike The Sun Cafe, Dystopia was created in the same year it was released. Just a little fun fact. Due to time constraints, we'll only discuss what can be found in Dystopia. The player spawns in the middle of a neighborhood located somewhere in a fictional universe. I say this because if the player looks at the skybox, they can see a giant planet. As for the neighborhood itself, the layout randomly generates every time the player joins Dystopia, so the location of essential items will vary. The neighborhood contains many houses, bus stops, lights, power substations, approximately 2 parks, and many trees. There's quite a lot of stuff to find here. However, the neighborhood is filled with flying saucers, giant stone creatures with lamps for heads, and lots of robot cops roaming the streets. If the player runs into the cops, they'll get knocked to the ground by them. We'll return to this fact later. Likewise, if the player walks below the light of a flying saucer, they'll get picked up and dropped into the abyss outside the neighborhood. The latter awards the player a badge titled, "Look bleep, I can fly." I'm not exactly sure what the giant stone men do, so if they do anything, let me know in the comments below. The first thing the player should do after getting familiar with the neighborhood layout is look for a code. It comes in the form of random fractions scattered throughout the sidewalks on the map. There are 4 of these values, all of which make up the code. After finding all 4 numbers in the code, the player must find a crowbar. They can find the crowbar in one of the 2 power substations located in the neighborhood. Speaking of which, if the player hits a robot cop with the crowbar, they'll be awarded a badge called
Fight the Power.
After finding the crowbar, the player must look for a building with its door boarded up. The specific location of this building will, again, vary due to the randomly generated layout. After finding the building, the crowbar can break the wooden boards and open the door. Inside this building is a room containing a few boxes, lots of books, a bookshelf with various items, some carpet, and the entrance to a bunker. Remember that code I mentioned earlier? The player can enter a code by clicking on any 4 of the 9 books that can be found in the room. For anyone that is curious, the code is the second number in the fractions that are scattered throughout the map. The first number in these values is the order in which the second number is inputted. Hopefully that makes sense. After inputting the code by clicking books, the door to the bunker will open. This will award the player a badge called the bunker. Walking on top of this entrance will teleport the player to another part of the game titled, well, bunker. It's pretty much what you would expect to see in a bunker. At the bottom of the staircase, a note can be found that reads, "Do not enter." Remember that the sign cannot stop the player because they can't read. Going deeper inside the bunker, there's a lot to find in the other rooms. On the left corridor, one can find several boxes, a tree, a bed, and garbage bags. It's a pretty depressing sight. On the other side, one can find a bookshelf with a few items, a boarded up door, several boxes, and text on the wall. Near the main entrance is a board that flashes various letters in a specific order. This is meant to reveal a phrase that the player must type into the chat. There are multiple phrases that it could spell, so make sure to check which one you get when playing Dystopia. After typing the phrase in chat, the screen will then flash. This will reveal an 8-pointed star on the wall. Clicking on the star will cause it to turn and make the screen go white. The player will then be teleported to a third part of the game named Davy Jones's Locker. Here, the player spawns on top of a bed in the middle of the ocean. A few pillars and several stars will surround them. However, the action truly begins once the player dives into the water. Right below, one can find several little platforms attached to the stars above. By the way, this still isn't everything that can be found here. If the player swims below the surface for a bit, they'll reach the bottom of the ocean. Several things that can be found here include lots of grass and rocks, many light sources, a bus stop, a few boxes next to a sofa, and several pillars. Speaking of the bus stop, one can find a note that simply reads, "Gone." Who knows what this could mean? There are also a couple of stars that act like hydrothermal vents in this area. Standing on top of them will shoot the player into the air. Another thing found here is a sizable parasite-looking creature swimming around the area. If the player were to go up to the creature, it would swallow them whole and kill the player. This will reward the player with a badge titled Man's Best Friend. After getting eaten by the creature, the player will simply respawn at the ocean's top. Apart from that, there's not much else to see in game. In my opinion, Dystopia is a very haunting game that contains a lot of lore and activities for myth hunters to find and complete. The overall vibe of the first part of the game is dystopic, which is not surprising at all considering the game's literally titled Dystopia. I say this because the red color scheme, the robot cops in their behavior, and the flying drones are meant to give Orwellian vibes. The mechanic of having to piece together a randomized code to enter the bunker is honestly pretty cool. Something else that I like about Dystopia is the randomized phrase in the bunker that must be typed in the game chat to progress to Davy Jones's locker. It makes the player have to pay attention to what the sign is saying. Finally, the creature swimming in the ocean is freaky looking and very uncanny. This was most likely Gersonit's intention, but it's still worth pointing out. Overall, Dystopia is a Roblox myth game I highly recommend checking out. There is a bit of trivia that one should know regarding Gersonit. As one might know by now, trivia is just extra facts relevant enough to make it into the video. So, let's get into it. The first piece of trivia is that a shape that frequently appears in Gersonit's games is an 8-pointed star. It can be found in both Dystopia and the Sun Cafe. Interestingly, it is unclear what the shape could mean or why it even appears in Gersonit's games. Will we find out in the future? Who knows? The second and final piece of trivia is that in Gersonit's game, The Sun Cafe, a mask can be found next to some trash bags in the spawn area. This is possibly a reference to either Noli or Lysis, two Roblox myths known to wear a tragedy mask. If this is true, it's a subtle yet good reference to fellow Roblox myths. To wrap this video up, Gersonit is a Roblox myth best known for their games and being a member of Collaboration, a popular Roblox myth group. His story dates back to September 11th, 2017, but didn't start development of their myth until the following year. It went on a hiatus for a few years, then returned to activity in 2023. Gersonit's games are very well made and tell part of the myth story in a pretty understandable way. They also contain activities that allow the player to progress in them. Overall, Gersonit is an underrated Roblox myth that is deserving of more attention in the Roblox myth community. I like the game design and mechanics of Dystopia, as it effectively helps get the vibe across. Based on everything I discussed in this video, he also has a lot of potential to become pretty big in the community. We'll have to wait and see where this myth goes from here. With all that being said, Gersonit will forever be a popular Roblox myth, and that's everything.